All right. So on Hard Knocks, the Giants version, the offseason version, they talked a little bit about Caleb Williams and their evaluation of him as they were going through the draft process. One of their scouts, Blaze Bell, talked about Williams and kind of how he dealt with the media when he was at USC.
Yeah, Caleb obviously transferred from Oklahoma. We all know at 22, he had a big season, won the Heisman, a lot of success. And then they started 6-0 this past year and then ended up losing 5 of the last 6 games. So, just seeing how he dealt with that adversity, refused to talk to the media after UCLA. Obviously, coming to our market, that's a no-no. But other than that, everything checks. I mean, the guy's a competitor, loves ball, locked in.
So my question is, Peggy, is somebody who's covered players and gone to press conferences and kind of seen this. Not specifically about Caleb, but more about the Chicago media market. How will it kind of compare to what he saw in college? And then will he be able to handle it?
Well, okay, so he said that it was Caleb who refused to speak to the media because we were always under the impression it was Lincoln Riley who did not let guys talk to the media after losses.
That was my understanding that was a Lincoln Riley directive.
Yeah, so I'm a little surprised to hear that. I would say something must have changed because everything he has shown so far it feels authentic. It feels real. He has handled when there are social media cameras in Wrigleyville, and he's at a Wrigleyville bar after a Cubs game. He has handled the media when he was at the Combine in Indianapolis. He handled press conferences at Hallis Hall. All of them with these, there were never any uncomfortable moments. He seemed prepared for everything. Maybe he has matured and grown up and figured it all out. He will not get away with that approach in Chicago.
Nor do I believe he's prone to acting that way.
No, he's shown something that just is. There's something there that I'm curious where it came from because, boy, that's nothing that we have seen so far in the short 4 months.
As we said earlier, and I saw Aaron Lemming mention it on his tweet, and he's, and I want to give the correct accreditation for the thought because I was thinking the same thing. But, all of the narratives that have kind of, some of them have been floated out there have all been negated by his,
right.
Wow, I thought he was supposed to be an arrogant guy.
Right.
And no, that's not the case. I thought he was supposed to be all about this. No, not at all. Thought he was supposed to. No, I think any negative narrative that existed out there, to me, has felt like it's been dispelled. So,
but to hear the scouts say this, that it was Caleb who didn't want to talk, that was interesting. That's interesting.
Well,
but
like you said, that's not going to be the case at the NFL level, nor do I feel like I don't feel like that's his, how he does business. But we've yet to see him face adversity in the National Football League.
Good
when
point.
you're drafted first overall, it's all blue skies and sunshine with the wind at your back.
Yep.
So, look, my expectation is that it won't be a problem, but until we see how he responds to the first bout of adversity at the next level, there will always be some questions about how he will handle it.
We'll see. That's a good one.
All right, one of the other breaking news pieces today was Brandon Aiyuk of the 49ers requesting a trade officially. Do you guys think he's going to be on the move or not? Carmen kind of thought that they weren't going to trade him, but I tend to disagree. The 49ers cap tightens up next year. They're one of the bottom 3 in cap space for 2025. I can't see a world where they hang on to him at this point. Do you think he'll be moved?
Well, at the very least, they're telling people that he's not available. According to Adam Schefter, he said that other teams that have reached out to the 49ers have been told the team has no intention of trading him. I said this to you guys in there. Look, I think the world of Deebo Samuel, I think, is a pure receiver. Brandon Aiyuk is a better pure receiver. He doesn't do some of the other things, carrying the football and some of the other magnificent run after the catch stuff. But as a pure receiver, I think Brandon Ayuk's the better player. I don't know how you would move off of him. He's been so good. Jack, you make a great point. They do have some salary cap issues. He has seen Justin Jefferson get the contract that he got. A.J. Brown, St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, what Tyreek Hill's getting paid. He wants his money. I don't know how San Francisco would move off of him, but
Listen, San Francisco was able to smooth it over with Deebo Samuel.
that's true.
They found a way to get it done. I think that it's more of a reflection. There's a bit of a diva culture in that wide receiver room.
That's true.
So I think when you sign those guys or draft those guys, you know what you're getting. And you know eventually that they are going to want money and that it's always going to be a little bit sticky. I think they're going to get something done.
They drafted a wide receiver in the 1st and 4th round this year as well, which to me kind of symbolizes that they might be ready to move on one of the two, whether it's Deebo or Aiyuk.
Well, it's also just pure economics too. I mean, the wide receiver market is crazy right now.
Well, think of who you've paid. You've paid Deebo. You've paid, Kittle's getting paid. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey just got a new contract extension. They're being able to survive right now financially because Brock Purdy is on a rookie contract.
Right.
Ricky Pearsall is the kid that they drafted first out or in the first round. I think it was the 31st pick of the draft. He was a kid, very good player out of Florida, but they just put him on the active non-football injury list. Don't know what it even means, but dealing with some issues, some soreness issues. I still don't believe that they'll move off of him, but I'm not sure. Look, at this point, with some of the issues that Deebo Samuel has had, and remember also they paid Fred Warner, they paid Nick Bosa, they just paid Deebo. I don't know what kind of cap hit they'd take if they moved off of him to give the money to Aiyuk, but Deebo's had, he played 15 games. I don't know how you move off of Aiyuk. I just don't.
Well, the other factor to put in there is Brock Purdy's rookie deal expires after the 2025 season as well, because he doesn't have that 5th-year option.
Right.
So then you have to pay a quarterback, and you potentially have a number 1 wide receiver on the books.
I think,
and then you also have to pay your defense, and they just paid Bosa. So
yeah, I think at that point though, Jack, the Deebo Samuel contract was what, 3 years, 70 some million. I think at that point that contract comes off the books, right? Not after this season. But you said after 25?
After 25,
yeah. I think at that point, Deebo Samuel's contract's off. It would be a really difficult decision for them, probably. But if you've watched what has transpired over the last couple of years, Deebo's had some injuries. Last year, he played 15 games. He had 60 receptions for 892 yards and 7 touchdowns. He also had 5 rushing touchdowns. But he's had 1,000-yard receiving season in his 5 or 6 years with the 49ers. I'm not so sure they wouldn't keep Aiyuk. If they had to choose between the two, I'm not so sure they wouldn't keep Aiyuk, to be honest. He had 1,300 yards receiving last year after a 1,000-yard receiving season the year before. I think he's the better overall receiver.
Well, if they can just get him in and then make that decision as the season goes, they can decide.
Yeah.
Isn't it nice
Interesting.
for a receiver to be on the market and not immediately have to jump in and say, "Oh, the Bears need this guy," because finally they have the receiving core figured out.
Exactly.
All right. Did you guys hear all this Tiger Woods stuff this weekend?
Yeah.
So Colin Montgomery said that Tiger Woods should retire, and Tiger was not too happy about that. He responded this way.
Tiger, just to almost follow up on that, you've given so much to this game, you've given so much to this championship. But, there was comments, last week from Colin Montgomery who said, why is he here? He should retire. There's no point to this. Do you feel that's a bit hurtful and you've earned the right to make the decision when you decide?
Well, as a past champion, I'm exempt till I'm 60. Colin's not. He's not a past champion, so he's not exempt.
Bam!
So he doesn't get the opportunity to make that decision. I do.
I love it. I don't know why.
Tiger's plus 250 to make the cut at the Open this weekend. How are you feeling about Tiger Woods? Do you think he should hang it up or keep on going?
Oh, come on.
I want him to keep on going, obviously.
It is not for us to say that. This guy has completely changed the game of golf over the last 20 years. So Colin Montgomery has been nothing but a fuddy-duddy. He's ornery. He's been like that ever since he was an active player. And forever, they have allowed older players to play. He needs to just shut up already.
He probably has a summer home somewhere wherever he
Oh.
lives, based solely on the rise in purse money that took place over the course of his
Great
playing
point.
career that was directly attached to the popularity increase that was a sole responsibility of Tiger Woods. I've said they should build a cathedral called the Tiger Woods Cathedral, and before every tournament, every current player should go in and kneel at the Tiger Woods altar, financial altar, because every one of them, and they're all fabulous players, they're making what they're making because Tiger Woods made golf cool and popular.
Yes. Yes.
So instead of saying, I mean, look, is Tiger Woods a threat to win the Open? No. But I just think it's a silly. You know what I would say? I would say Tiger Woods should do whatever the hell Tiger Woods wants to do.
Right.
He's earned the right.
Absolutely. Colin Montgomery is just an ass.
Can
I
I
was just
say
gonna say
something possibly a little unpopular? I don't agree with Colin Montgomery. I agree with you, Waddle. Tiger should do whatever the hell he wants. I don't enjoy watching Tiger Woods play golf right now. It's incredibly difficult to watch. It's very painful. You can see him just moving so poorly.
You feel bad for him. If you're a fan of his,
It's
you
like-
watch him
It's
play.
not
and you're
enjoyable.
Like,
it's not fun.
It's not that that's not a popular thought. Everyone agrees with that thought, that it's difficult to watch, but it's like a gaper's block. People want to see it, and they're hoping for a better outcome each time. They're looking, they know it looks bad, but they're really, really hoping that it's better. And it's because of who he is.
You know what?
You can't tell him to stop playing and not
Tiger should
enter
have
the
said, you know
tournaments
what,
anymore.
Collins should push himself away from the chips, the fish and chips buffet. That's what he should do.
Aren't we at Weight Watchers yet?
Yeah.
Isn't Colin at that point? Isn't
you know
hey,
what, we don't
Colin
stoop to that
Ozempic
level.
is calling?
Yeah.
Aren't we at that point yet, Colin? Maybe it's
See how
time.
defensive we get of people that are trying to tell Tiger Woods what to do?
And yet I'm trying to push Aaron Rodgers out.
Yeah. Aren't you the one telling Aaron Rodgers it's time for you to go?
I never said
He's
it's time
not
for
as
him to go.
accomplished, obviously, as Tiger Woods. But
No, I didn't say it's time for him to go, but I just said that he's old and slow.
I just think, and why would you even want to go there? Because it's not going to go well. You know
he
what I
doesn't
mean?
care.
That's true.
He
but-
doesn't care.
But maybe he feels empowered because it's the British Open. But as Tiger said, Colin Montgomery's never won it. So I thought it was interesting that Tiger Woods decided to decline the opportunity to be the Ryder Cup captain.
Well, I mean, it's like asking Michael Jordan, to captain the Olympic team. I mean, you're asking the most famous golfer in the world to take a job as a coach.
I think it'd be cool, though.
I don't think it's time yet.
No?
I think
He's
he's
waiting
got,
for him to be older? Zach Johnson
I think he needs to feel like he's done more than he is ready to admit. And when he's ready to admit it, then he might do something like that. Yeah.
He's one of my favorite athletes of all time.
Keegan Bradley, on the other hand, is I didn't realize he's mercurial and he's not one of the more popular guys on tour amongst the players.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, he's very
He's got a
mercurial.
little Colin Montgomery in him.
He's just a
Both
little
in appearance and
different.
obviously, I guess, in personality.
Just a little different. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that he turned that down.
What else you got,
But
Jack?
Colin, shut up already.
Well, Tiger could be on number one on that list we were talking about, of most accomplished athletes of the 21st century. Well, I was going to ask you guys, who is your most accomplished Chicago athlete of the 21st century? I think there's a short list.
I think it's Patrick Kane?
Patrick Kane, and then who's number two? And let's say Kane and Tay is number 1, 2. Who's number 3?
Chris Bryant?
That's what I said, and Carmen and Yerk left him off their top 10 this afternoon.
Really?
They were saying Mark Burley's up there. They said Urlacher, but I don't know if Urlacher's most accomplished.
Most accomplished.
Jack made a great point, too. If you're going to have Rose in there, you have to have Brian in there.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Bryant, again, like, I still believe that his fall from where his height to where he is now, that is a more precipitous fall than what happened to Tim Anderson, who's out of the league. Tim Anderson never got to the heights of Chris Bryant. And I mentioned that because we've had this discussion in the past. Chris Bryant was the player of the year in minor league baseball. He was the rookie of the year. He was the MVP. He was the MVP. Wasn't he the MVP of the World Series as well? He won a World Series.
Yeah, he would.
He won the Golden Spikes, too.
Yeah. Wow. And where's Derrick Rose?
Like, where is he
On
now?
the list,
Would you put him? Where would you put him on your list?
I'd put him.
Is he top 10?
I'd put him top 5.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
I would
That's
too.
what I was thinking,
I think
too.
if you have an MVP, it immediately moves you towards the top of
Right,
the
you're
list.
talking about accomplished. That's
Did Mark Burley ever win a Cy Young?
I don't believe
No.
so.
So your number one athlete in Chicago in the 2000s would be Kaner, right?
right.
It's got to be.
Most
Easy.
accomplished. Would Taves be next?
The 3 championships
Yeah.
push
yeah,
them up the list pretty heavily.
Okay, then where do you go? I mean, the Cubs won a championship and Chris Bryant was
Bryant.
the MVP. So I would think Chris Bryant, his longevity is not there, but
But it's most accomplished.
I think Mark Burley's
It's
a
like
good
being
one.
most decorated.
Burley has the perfect game. And then
I would
What
I
about
would
Jake
put
Arrieta?
Jake Arrieta, 2 no-hitters.
World
Cy Young.
Series.
His peak was probably the best out of any player.
He was Bob Gibson. He was modern day Bob Gibson that one year. I'm trying to think who else would be. I mean, Derek's
So-
on that list.
Why wouldn't Derrick Rose be 4?
I think I could put Derek at 4 and feel comfortable with that.
It's hard when you get to the team sports.
I said Sammy Sosa. That got shot down as being
No.
not a long enough prime. He had 238 home runs in 5 years at the start of the 2000s.
I know. I mean, the
a
individual.
60 home run season.
I think the individual accomplishment to get on this list also has to be combined with team success. But I guess Derrick Rose. They never won anything with him. I still think it's one of the silliest things on the face of the sports planet, that Sammy Sosa is not invited back to Wrigley Field. I mean, that's the only reason people went to Wrigley Field for a stretch of time, because Sammy was there.
Does Julius Peppers do anything for you?
No.
Isn't it telling that there's really only one Bears player worth even mentioning with
Well,
Urlacher?
it's hard. It's hard when you say most accomplished, because they went to 1 Super Bowl, defensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year.
I think so, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
So Urlacher, the thing with Hossa, like someone said, Marion Hossa, most of his accomplishments came when he was not in Chicago. Like, he came to Chicago at the end, which is great. Hall of Famer for sure, but
He's one of the best free agent signings in the history,
in history
Chicago
of
sports.
Chicago
Yeah.
sports. Wow, that's a good one.
It's a good list.
Yeah, that's
Anything
really
re-
hard.
Anything real quick before we get out of here,
Yeah,
Jack?
Erin Andrews on her podcast said that her pregame ritual was eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich before every game. Waddle, did you have any weird pregame rituals?
I went to Mass every Sunday morning. It was usually me, Tom Thayer, and Chris Zorich. And I would eat breakfast, and then I go to the bathroom before warm up and after warm up. Not to puke, but just to sit down and make sure everything was functioning correctly.
That's your ritual.
That was my ritual.
I always
I prayed to the good Lord that I wasn't going to die on the field, and then I took care of whatever intestinal issues that the butterflies would cause.
I just show up early for work, and then I run back out to my car every time.
That's good.